Alright, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kodash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of great ministry that surely do well. Peace and blessings goes out to the brethren through the four corners of this world that continue to push this word in all sincerity. And in all diligence, this is your brother Matina here once again from the Great Millstone Camp in Trinidad. Coming to do another lesson to edify the Lord's flock. And this, we're entitled this lesson, She Always Wants to Conquer You. And she here is speaking about Eve, or, woman on the whole. This is in their nature to conquer or try to change you. And as soon as they change you, as soon as they get you to bend to their will, they will leave you. As soon as they conquer you, as soon as they try and succeed in getting to change you, in getting you to lower your standards, in getting you to, stop pursue your ambitions, to pursue their own, they will leave. And they say that we speak these things because we hate women and this and how to put it, we misogynistic, and our faith have us thinking so. But if you look at a lot of these men that do these podcast shows, they would say the same things that we saying. So it's not just a Hebrew Israelite thing. It's a general idea or a general experience with men scattered through the four corners of the earth, and it mainly happens to us, the so-called not the so-called, but so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the Hebrew Israelites biblically. And why it happens to us? Because we are under the curses, and part of the curses are that our women would not desire us. They would not treat us as we are supposed to be treated as men. They would not respect us because we have no power. But for us in the truth, dealing with men in the truth, because truth is in the world, they're gonna be given a wicked woman anyhow. So men in the world, they can't avoid that. But for men in the truth, you have to have your eye, single. You had to, keep focused, because you don't want to get caught up with these women out here. You don't want to let them lead you astray in any way or form or means possible. You don't even want to slightly change yourself to adapt to them or to adjust your lifestyle to them. You must always let them adjust to suit you. You don't adjust to suit them. Most time made us leaders of men for a reason. And if you look at what happened to our forefather Adam, as soon as he obeyed, as soon as he agreed to do what his wife did, that was the end of us. Immortality left us, us being the sons of God, the sons of the Most High, which came back as the Israelites. There's Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 25. Before I read that, what? Timothy. First. It says 1 Timothy 1 verse 15, verse 4. Start from verse 12. It says, "But I suffer not a woman to teach, not to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing." Well, the scriptures say Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. So the serpent being at that point in time, so-called, white man, his race, a warlock from his race, deceived Eve, and she was in the transgression. Why he deceived Eve? Because she was easier, she was a weaker vessel. And her being deceived, Adam gave to her desire, gave to her wishes, and he was deceived as well. And that is a thing. I remember some time ago talking to a guy in the world. He said when the devil when the devil can't get to him, he does any child mother, and that is a fact, because in this world the so-called black woman have more power than the so-called black man, than the Israelite man. So what Esau does, Esau give your woman, your woman, or the woman of your race, more power over you. So it'll be easier to conquer you. See? Now for men in the truth, for men in the truth, we knowing that now, it's better, it's better for us all together not to deal with a woman, as the apostle Paul said. But when you're dealing with a woman, deal with a woman with wisdom and with guile and with cunningness as well. The scripture said, Yahushua in fact said, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. There is Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 25. It says, I apply my heart to know and to seek and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. So if you please God, the Most High gonna deliver you from her, regardless of anything. But you still walk with wisdom, you're still walking with understanding. And I mean, some of us had a burden to learn to gain wisdom and understanding by experience. But let some of your understanding come from, what other men telling you, the experience of other men. And that is one of the best ways to learn from the experience of other men, because some of these things that these women put you through, you really don't want to experience it. You understand? You really don't want to experience it. The headache some of these women put you through. They see how brothers, how brothers are affected by it, and you say, well, you don't want to go through that. Let me read this. But let's get this in another version. In the NLT it says, I discovered, Sirach 7 and 26 says, I discovered that a seductive woman is a trap, more bitter than death. So she's a trap. She's seductive. Going back to seducing, trying to use enchantment, trying to use the guile, trying to use the V to conquer it, to get it to do things that that will please them. It says, her passion is a snare and her soft hands are chains. Those who are pleasing to God will escape her, but sinners will be caught in her snare. See? So her mind, her whole game is to ensnare you, is to try to conquer you, is to try to let you. And from us in the truth, their whole game plan when they come to us is to try to get us to, why you had to keep the Sabbath? Why you had to go to this feast? Why you still doing this? Why you still let's still keep those old feast days? Why you had to go out there and preach? Why you had to do this? Why you had to keep there for 2 men? Those things aren't done with. Their whole game plan is to get you to deviate from the Most High. Same thing as Eve. But who the serpent went to? The serpent don't get to you directly, or Satan don't get to you directly. He uses your woman. They come subtle, just like how who was that? Samson with Delilah. Played in his hair, comb his hair. and found out his secret, because they come in subtle. He not coming as a roaring lion, as the scripture say the devil shall come as a roaring lion. Nah, he ain't coming as a roaring lion to fucking conquer some of us. You know? Coming subtle, coming calm. Like a lamb. So babe, you sure you had to do this? You sure you still had to do that? You sure what that man saying she writing? Yeah, pillow talk. She know and give some sex and pillow conversation lying down next day. So baby, all that fuckery. You had to put them in the place one time, and some of them even had to cut off. You know, some of them it best fit to even cut them off, because I mean, you can entertain that energy once or twice, but a constant thing, you realize they're not changing. Like they're not taking heed at all. Every single time they get to talk to you, it's always about something about doing, something about it should come in to tell you about. Hey, get a bit far away from you. It says, I'm gonna read it again. Oh yeah, I'm gonna read the next one. And I find more bitter than death the woman who is a snare, whose heart is a trap, and whose hands are chains. The man who pleases God shall escape her, but the sinner she will ensnare. So if you're not of the elect, you're gonna get ensnared eventually. It had men in the street that, women get them to leave. They were going through sufferation, and again going through the tribulation and trials, normal, but Satan couldn't get them that way, so he used a woman. And woman is one of the easy one. Woman is one of the number one tools. The scripture talk about in 1 Esdras 4 about who is the strongest between the king and the woman. The woman was up there. And then the truth be the woman. So as long as you have this truth in you, as long as you have shine still that faith in you, they're gonna conquer them. But if you don't have that faith in you, they're gonna conquer you. If you don't walk in wisdom, scripture say walk in wisdom. Because we see it times. If you don't walk in wisdom and be circumspect and be wise as a serpent as well, just like how they come into you as a serpent, then you're gonna get conquered. The Apostle Paul with 1 Corinthians, what that is? 1 Corinthians 7, and I believe from verse 25. From verse 27, I'm going to read from verse 27. It says, art thou bound unto your wife, seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife, seek not a wife. But and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she has not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. It says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. If remain that both they that have wives be as though they had none. See? So the Apostle Paul, through his wisdom and experience, through his understanding of the scriptures, said that it's better not to have one. And if you do have one, be as though you had none. See? Focus on the things in the truth, focus on the things in the ministry, because the truth is what's going to deliver us from the day of death, from the day of judgment to begin with. And they're going to even deliver some of them wicked women as well. You understand? There will be pressure, and you ain't giving them no time now, and this and that and that. But in that day, they're going to be grateful that you didn't give them no time. So you don't forget about them. Like you preparing for a world championship fight, world heavyweight fight. You don't have time for Eve to be. You know the prize, so you don't have time to take on she. You know at the end, when you turn world champion, she gonna be behind him more, and other woman gonna be behind him more too. But guess what? This should have a much more glorious crown and a much more glorious prize. So guess what? You know the sacrifice that have to be made. You have to ignore the chatter outside. You have to ignore the criticism. You have to ignore the mockery, the scoffing, you have to ignore all the fight down talk and just focus. Read it again. And thou bong unto your wife, seek not to be loose, and thou loose from your wife, seek not your wife. And it's that kind of that a bit difficult, mostly for us younger men, you know, men my age, you know, like came coming into young, you're on fire, so to, to not seek a wife would be kind of difficult, especially when these women out here very easy to get, you know. But from experience, it's really actually better not to have one, you know. Through experience, it's really better really actually not to have one. But if, as the scripture says, if a man burn, you know, let him marry. Or if a virgin burn, and let her marry, you know. They break no command, they break no law. It says verse 29 again, it says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. You know, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. You know? And but with that, I want to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodash, double unto the apostles and the elders of goodness, for that surely do well. Peace and blessings unto Yakim, truly 4 points of the soul. I continue to push this soul in our diligence. So, Brother Martin, and I'm praying that this, and hoping that this lesson will edify unto you. Till next time, I say, inshallah.